Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is Josh Thomas here from the BitBlock, and I'm going to be casually sitting back here and maybe talking for about 20 minutes or so with my impressions of the Nintendo Switch presentation. But don't worry, we did film a lot of reaction videos to pretty much everything, that was shown in the presentation. I'm going to be editing those when I wake up. It is currently about 20 minutes until 7 a.m., and so I kind of want to get to bed around 7. But I did think it's important to get a video up there to let you guys know what I think. Because otherwise, I'm a Nintendo channel and I'm not talking about the Switch presentation. It's insane. All right, let's get right into it. I'm going to kind of go over the games and then maybe talk a little bit of miscellaneous stuff, like pricing and release date and that. So I think the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, that trailer was beautiful and perfect in every way. I genuinely was starting to get tears in my eyes when I was watching it because it was just so, well done. It was exactly what I felt we needed. We kind of needed that Breath of the Wild trailer that felt really exciting and had action and showed some stuff. I will say, though, I don't know if we saw any temples. Have we still not seen any temples or dungeons? I can't recall them. It seems like everything was, taking place outdoors. Does this game not have temples? I don't know. But other than that, I'm just blown away by this game. It looks so fantastic. It looks gorgeous, and I love the fact that there's voice acting, and some of the English voice acting maybe didn't sound that great. I don't know why Nintendo doesn't just hire professional voice actors and why they use people from the treehouse who are not good at voice acting. Maybe they didn't. Maybe these are professional voice actors. I don't know. Seemed okay, though. Wasn't totally put off by the voice acting, but I think it could have been done better in some instances. But it sounds good enough, honestly. And I love the fact that there's voice acting. Makes me feel like this is a new Zelda, like this is a modern Zelda. So very cool. Everything about that. Everything about the Breath of the Wild content at this presentation was fantastic. I think this game just looks so great, and I can't say enough good things about it. Honestly, it just looks fantastic, and I cannot wait to play it. I will say this, actually. Nintendo, I feel, is very foolish because they are releasing Breath of the Wild on the Wii U on March 3rd, and it will be releasing on March 3rd on the Switch. And I feel like Breath of the Wild is really the only must-have launch title for Nintendo Switch. And so it would have been smart to launch in the end of March for the Wii U and beginning of March for Switch, because it would have made people say, okay, well, I'm going to get a Switch. I have to play this game right away. I'm going to, spend the $300 to get the Nintendo Switch. But they kind of have an excuse not to now, because they can just play the game on the Wii U. And unless the Wii U version plays considerably worse, a lot of people might just do that. I don't know. I wouldn't have made that decision myself. I would have said Breath of the Wild for the Wii U was late March, and you can get it earlier on the Switch, like they did with Twilight Princess on the Wii and the GameCube. But regardless, the game is just so cool and so great. I love the characters they showed, love the environments. I just really don't know if we saw any temples, so I'm kind of hoping there is. Next, we have 1-2 Switch, which honestly I'm not really that interested in as of right now. It seems like it doesn't stimulate you visually at all. It seems like the kind of thing you would pull out occasionally, like at a holiday gathering with family, or maybe you and your friends are hanging out and for some reason you just want to dick around with some weird thing. It certainly doesn't look like it's the next Wii Sports. Doesn't really look like it's going to be a reason to buy the system. Part of me I've watched some of this game, I watched just recently on the Japanese Nintendo site, I watched some other things, like they have you hold the controller about 6 inches away from your mouth, and then you have to keep making a biting motion as fast as you can in a time limit, and it's going to then tell you how many cheeseburgers you ate. One of them has you milking cows, and you know when to stop milking it because you feel it in the 3D rumble feature that the controller has. So it feels like it's I don't know, it's weird. It's very weird, and I like weird things, but I'm not so sure if I like this. I think my biggest complaint is that it doesn't really feel like a game. It feels like the type of thing that should have been packed in for free to the Switch, and that would have been great because it would have made it feel like there's more bang for your buck. I highly doubt this game has much development cost behind it. 1-2 Switch, I don't know. I mean, I like quirky, crazy things, so I'm going to get it, and we'll try it out on the fold and stuff. I just wish there was more of a, it doesn't satisfy me visually. There's nothing to look at. There's no game to look at. So I don't really know that I'm ready for that. Don't really know that I like that so much, but we'll see. It's a $50 game, which seems a bit crazy, so I'm going to keep an eye on it and see what it is, but My first reaction to that, you'll see it in the future, like later today. My first reaction was, is this a game? What is this? So yeah. There's a Dragon Quest game coming. Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2, I think it says. Yeah, or something. There's a Dragon Quest game. I've never really gotten into Dragon Quest titles, but I really love the character design in Dragon Quest games. I feel like I kind of want to like Dragon Quest. So maybe I'll give that a chance. I'm looking at the Japanese site. It seems like it's going to launch for the release day in Japan. So I don't think that's true for the rest of the world, at least not in North America from what I've seen. So maybe that'll be one that I play on the Japanese Switch console that I'm going to buy. And I'm well aware, by the way, that this system is not region locked, which I think is definitely good. In the past, I did actually speak out against people who were very mad at Nintendo for region locking. I have definitely since changed my opinion on that, and I don't think Nintendo should region lock the system. So it's good that it's not. But I am going to buy a Japanese system because you still can't access the eShop. So I'm going to probably want to do that for like downloadable games, like eShop games. And you know what? While we're at it, let's just go right into that. I know I'm kind of going down the list of games, but I don't want to forget about it. Really surprised that we heard nothing about the eShop. The most we heard about the eShop is that you'll be able to get a free NES or Super Nintendo game if you pay for the online service. And again, we'll get into that later. But very surprised and disappointed that they didn't bother to mention the eShop. I'm a little bit worried that means it's kind of being downplayed in a way, and it's just going to be status quo of, typical stuff. We got Super Nintendo, NES, N64, I'm really hoping for GameCube games. I think this needs to have GameCube games in the eShop. So maybe that's something they'll talk about a month before launch or something. I don't know. We have a month and a half before this damn thing launches, which is insane. So you would think that if it's going to have an eShop with a virtual console in that from day one, they would have mentioned it. But I don't know. I'm really hoping they do. I mean, come on. Being able to buy GameCube games from day one is definitely a reason to pick up a Switch. So I don't know why they're not ready with that. It's crazy. I mean, it doesn't even sound like there's, a normal eShop with like NES games and Super Nintendo games. I don't know. Next up, there's a Bomberman game. It's called Super Bomberman R for the Switch. And I've looked at it a little bit. It seems like it's for 8 players. I don't know if that's 8 players simultaneous, but that could be actually pretty cool. It looks like it is 8 players simultaneous, or at least 4 simultaneous. And, Bomberman's kind of a cute game. I haven't played it a lot, but I have in the past. And so, oh no, it looks like you can play 8 players at the same time. So yeah, I mean, it looks like a cute little game. Seems like it would be an eShop game. I don't know, that doesn't seem like it would be a retail game. But it looks like it's going to be launch day in Japan, March 3rd. So I don't know. We'll have to see what that is. Oh no, it does have a packaged version and download version. There's no price yet. It's for 1 to 8 players and it's action. So that's kind of weird. Hopefully that's not overpriced. Seems like that's the kind of game that probably should just be a downloadable thing, but I don't know. Next up, this is a game that I don't know if many people are talking about this, but I'm actually really excited about it. I do not know the name because I'm on the Japanese website, but it is Together Choki and Sanepatsu. I don't know what it's called. It's this weird little game. I probably should have looked this up because you won't know what I'm talking about, but it's this weird art style themed game where you are playing a 2-player kind of co-op game, but you can also mess with each other. And essentially, you are cutting the shapes to solve puzzles in the world. So an example is like you need to dunk a basketball into a basketball net, and you have to like cut a shape into one of the characters, like their head, to scoop up the basketball into that like half circle shape you cut into their head, and then you stand on top the other player's head, and then you dunk the basketball. So it seems like it's this really interesting thing. Like another thing, there's a bunch of balloons on the stage that you need to pop. So naturally, you cut the character into the shape of like a pin or something with a sharp little pointy edge to it so you can pop the balloons. And it just seems like it's this really weird, quirky, interesting, cute little thing that's got a great color scheme going, a great art style. And it seems like the gameplay looks really neat, working together with your friend or messing around. And it seems like you can play it 1 player as well. So yeah, I'm actually really interested in that game. Seems like it's going to be coming out in March, and it is a download-only game, according to the Japanese website. It says the suggested retail price is 1,667 yen, which I think is the equivalency of about $15. So, and it's for 1 to 4 people. So that's pretty cool. I like it. I'm definitely going to get that. So that's one of the games, oddly enough, that I'm like most interested in. That brings us to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So, as many of you know, for quite some time now, I have been very into wanting a battle mode in Mario Kart, because it should have been in Mario Kart 8. And I'm very, very, very happy to see that there is a battle mode that is totally revamped in this game. I mean, that just, in and of itself, I know I'm a fool. I'm not happy with it, but I will pay $60 just to get the damn battle mode, Nintendo. So, yeah. All right. I'm fine with that. It seems like the stages are pretty cool for the battle mode. It looks like there was a block fort kind of a stage, the typical block city, block fort, block plaza, whatever. Luigi's Mansion from Double Dash. The Luigi's Mansion battle map from Double Dash. That is like one of the MVP stages. So to see that that's going to be in this as one of them, amazing pick, Nintendo. Super, super excited to see that. So yeah, that has me very excited. And then there's like a Super Nintendo battle map they brought back. And so very, very happy with the selection so far for the battle map. I'm hoping there's more. I mean, is it too much for me to say that there should be like 10 battle maps? It seems like you can play in Balloon Battle, and you can also play in Bob-omb Blast, which is making a return. It looks like it might play differently, though. I don't know how it plays. We haven't seen it. But in one of the screenshots, it doesn't seem like the Bob-ombs are colored. In Double Dash, you have different colored Bob-ombs based on what team you are. So I don't know if it's just going to be the only... I mean, is it going to be as simple as, hey, it's Bob-omb Blast, which means that all the items are going to be Bob-ombs? Is that it? Because I kind of feel like that... Well, I guess that's what Bob-omb Blast is. But you could stack them in Bob-omb Blast. You could get like a whole stack of like 6 of them, and then you could just rapid fire. So it doesn't... I don't know if you can do that, because there's no indication that you can do that in this game. So I don't know. Kind of feel like coin runners, man. Could have put coin runners in there too. Like, that's not a hard thing to do. And considering the battle mode seems to be the only real thing that's new in the game, maybe there is more. I don't know, but the press release doesn't seem to suggest it. But I like it. I'm going to be able to play battle mode. It's kind of interesting. It looks like you can have 4 balloons. It looks like you might start off with 4 or 5 balloons, which is pretty crazy. Makes me think that they're going to stick with the rules of when you lose all your balloons, you're out. Maybe that's why they gave you a few extra ones, just to let you stay in the game more. I actually prefer to respawn. I think they had it right with Mario Kart Wii. Once you lose all 3 of your balloons, you respawn, and they deduct points from your overall score as a punishment. I think that worked beautifully. So I kind of wish they were doing that. Maybe they are, but doesn't look like it. Looks like they're maybe doing it classic rules where you can be eliminated. And so yeah. I want to go on record as saying that I don't think that just having battle maps is enough to make Mario Kart 8's battle mode good. There were other problems. The respawn time, the refresh time after you got hit was way too soon. So if somebody was a super jerk, they could just stand right next to you and kill you instantly before you had a chance to drive away. You definitely need to blink for a lot more time, Nintendo. You need to give people a chance to get the hell away. Especially if somebody has like triple green shells. Just boom, 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 you're dead. You're out. So they need to fix that. Also, the items were a little bit boring in Mario Kart 8's battle mode. It seems like if you had all of your balloons, all they would give you are banana peels, coins, and green shells. I don't know if they could give you coins, actually, but it's just banana peels and green shells. Those are not fun items to mess around with in battle mode. We need crazier items. So, in a way, I'm very happy, and in another way, I still feel like this isn't quite there. But I haven't played it yet, so we'll see. I'm talking too much about Mario Kart here, but I'm also really excited that you can use the Wii wheel. It's not really the Wii wheel anymore. It's the Switch wheel or whatever, Joy-Con wheel. I think that's very cool. That's the way I play Mario Kart 8. That's the way I've played Mario Kart ever since the Wii game, except for like Mario Kart 7. I didn't use motion controls for that, but I like the fact that those are coming back. That's pretty cool. I like the fact that you can have 2 items at once. They added the feather. Feather's an interesting thing. That might be one of those items. I hope that you can like push your item back to the back slot. Like the feather in a battle map, like if you're playing a battle, you probably don't want to hold on to the feather for a very long time because battle is all about how many points can you get in the time limit. So if you're like holding on to a feather, that's a defensive item. So I think a lot of people might just waste the feather then. So I think you should be able to knock the item back to the, to the back slot. Otherwise, you might have some problems. I think that would add a lot of strategy, like in Double Dash, how you could do that. But yeah, Inklings are really cool to have in the game. I think that's pretty neat. I like the fact that Inklings are in there. It looks like you can swap around their colors, like a Yoshi or Shy Guy. That's very nifty. I like the Inkling carts that they added. The little torpedo. That's pretty cool. I like the battle map as well. The Urchin Underpass battle map. That's neat. Good stuff. I think so. I think that pretty much covers everything about Mario Kart 8. I love the Bowser Jr. is back. That's very neat. I think I'm amazed that he wasn't in to begin with. Dry Bones, King Boo, even though that's not technically King Boo. King Boo has a ruby crown. He's got a blue tongue and dark eyes. I don't know why Nintendo doesn't know who King Boo is, but apparently they don't. Yeah. I'm talking so much about Mario Kart, but that was like one of the highlights for me, so I apologize if it's too much. So yeah. Good stuff. I'm very excited to see what that's like, and I think it's great that it's coming out just before summertime, because it'll be pretty much what I do every summer night with Nick and other friends. We'll be on the battle mode if you guys wanted to take us on. There's one more thing I wanted to mention about Mario Kart's battle, but I've totally forgotten, or Mario Kart in general, but I can't remember, so maybe it wasn't that important. But it doesn't seem like there's new racing tracks. Oh, I remember. Okay. So, I'm really curious if with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, they're going to add more DLC as time goes by, and they're just going to look at this as being the Switch's version of Mario Kart, and they're just going to keep beefing it up with more DLC, or if this is really just kind of a placeholder, Like, hey, we want to have Mario Kart available really soon after the system launches, and then we're going to work on an actual full Switch Mario Kart game. I'm really curious. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could go either way. Part of me thinks, yeah, just keep adding DLC to this one. And then part of me thinks, well, make a Mario Kart game that's got some sort of new crazy gimmick going on. But then it's like, do you really need that? Seems like maybe just add to it. I've also noticed in screenshots, by the way, there are images of the battle mode for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but they don't have any balloons. None of the characters have balloons. So I have no idea what's going on there. It's a little confusing. But anyways, that's enough Mario Kart. I apologize. That went on way too much. Way too long. There's a new game called ARMS. And ARMS seems like it's this weird kind of fighting boxing style game. My initial reaction to this, well, I don't want to spoil our reactions. I want you guys to watch them. But I could go either way on this, honestly. I mean, a part of me thinks it's like a more fun version of the boxing in Wii Sports. And if that's the case, that's pretty cool. I kind of liked the boxing in Wii Sports. It really just comes down to how immersive the controls feel. That's what I think this game is going to live and die by. How fun does it feel? How accurate does it feel to control this? Is it too complicated to where it's just confusing? Is it too simple to where it gets boring really quick? I do like the idea that there are a lot of characters, and one of the first things that I was thinking in my mind is I hope that a lot of people start cosplaying as some of these characters, because they actually look like they'd make for pretty fun cosplays. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, it's sort of weird. It almost doesn't even look like a Nintendo game. It kind of looks like a game that Rare would make for the Xbox Kinect. For like the Kinect on 360 or whatever. Just gave me those vibes. It doesn't really look like a Nintendo game, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just, I don't know. That's one I'm going to have to definitely... I'm going to buy it because I'm going to buy like pretty much every launch game here, but it just kind of strikes me as maybe that's the type of thing that would have been better as like one of the events in a bigger package. Like here's the Switch Sports Resort, and in this sport, it's, a game where you battle with giant boxing things or whatever. It just seems like it should be a part of a package and not its own thing, but it is its own thing, and it's $60. So... it's got a lot to prove for me. I'm just not totally convinced on that one. I just think that maybe it's not a big enough thing to be on its own for $60. Splatoon 2 is a game that they obviously announced. It's got much better shoe style. There's much better shoe fashion in this game. What more do I need to say? It's got my approval. I want to say right off the bat, I don't think this game looks as well lit as the original Splatoon. The lighting in Splatoon 2 looks kind of crappy, if I'm being honest. It doesn't really look... I mean, there's not like a lot of bloom lighting anymore. There's no like sun flares or anything. It just looks like the lighting is very flat. So I'm hoping that's just a case of they need to polish it more. But I don't know. It's weird. That's one of the things I noticed. It sort of doesn't look as pretty at times as the original game does, because the lighting just doesn't seem to pop as much. Like I said, I do like the new accessories that they introduced. I love the new hairstyles you can have for your Inkling. It kind of gives them more personality. I love the fact that you can have pants and stuff. The new weapons look amazing. I love that weird rain cloud thing. That looks really neat. So yeah, I mean, it just looks good. It seems like there's a whole new story thing going on because they showed some of the cutscenes. I like the new plaza they added. Those weird dual wielding weapons look cool. Coming out in the summertime too, so that's the perfect time for it to come out. It's part of me thinks like, are they rushing this out? Because Splatoon just came out like 2 years ago. But I think they can do it because a lot of first-person shooters come out on a yearly basis. So I guess Splatoon can kind of join that rank. And it's been 2 years, and I doubt we'll get another one anytime soon after this. So yeah, I mean, looks cool. I'll buy it and play it. It'll be nice to have some Splatfests again and see what they can do with the story mode. I love the fact, I can't believe I almost forgot this because this is something that I would bring up multiple times in discussions. I love the fact that they have those little zip lines. They added the zip line things to the multiplayer, which I think is really, really cool. So yeah, I'm digging it. Looks cool. I like it. And then there are a few more games that, let's just see, there's one more in particular that I really want to talk about. I think there's actually only about one or two. So the one that I obviously haven't talked about yet is Super Mario Odyssey. I don't really want to say what my initial reaction was to it, but I think I have to talk about it anyways. I hate the fact that Mario is in a realistic environment. What in the world is that about? I don't know. Like, I don't get it. If it's just a world, so it's called New Donk City, I think, and I'm pretty sure it's based off of the original Donkey Kong game. It's supposed to be like, this is the city that Donkey Kong was originally, built in. Because you can see steel girders. There's references to like Diddy Kong on some of the signs and stuff. So yeah, it's weird. And I worry that it's like all wrong for the franchise, but then obviously we saw a lot more areas that are definitely way, way more Mario themed. So if the whole realistic city with actual human beings walking around in it, if that's just a world that Mario can sail off to and go explore, and there are many others, and it's not like the hub world, which is what I thought it was. I thought it was the hub world. I thought that realistic city was like, this is Mario's hub world, and then you go to all those magical places through this world. But it seems like that might not be the case, actually, the more I've kind of looked into it. So if it is just that, if it is just, hey, here's another world, and it's weird because it's like Mario's running around a realistic city, and you can scale these big buildings, and there's actual people, that is so damn dumb and stupid and just utterly disgusting that it just might work. It just might actually be weird as its own little world enough to actually work. I like the fact that apparently there's something going on with caps that even this trailer did not go in depth with. Like, we see Mario walk into a Crazy Cap shop. We see the Crazy Cap logo in pretty much every one of these areas that they showed, but we never see Mario go in and get a hat or even change his hat. We have seen that Mario can throw his hat and then jump on it, which I think is a really cool idea. I think that is actually really, really neat. Mario sails around in what looks like a hat attached to some sort of kite, like this big hat machine thing. Looks like that's gonna, excuse me, it looks like that's gonna be really important to like saving. It looks like there's a little save flag by there and stuff. You probably go inside there to then navigate to move around to the worlds. Nintendo described this as being the first big exploratory Mario game since Super Mario 64 and Sunshine. They mentioned both of those games, 64 and Sunshine, as inspirations for this game. That in and of itself has put me at so much ease with this game. I can absolutely rest easy knowing that this is going to be incredible. This is what 3D Mario is supposed to be. I've been saying that ever since Super Mario 3D World, and you guys were all telling me I was a negative asshole. But the second I saw 3D World, I was like, man, this looks really boring. This isn't what 3D Mario is supposed to be. And everybody's like, this looks good. This is what Mario should be from now on. And now you guys are all singing a different tune now that you've seen a real 3D Mario game. But yeah, it looks weird. It seems like a lot of the areas are different, like themed art styles. Because there's like that weird, super colorful food-based world where everything is like faceted. Everything looks very like blocky in a way. Like crystals almost. That looks so cool. And it's so completely different than some of the other areas. Like we've seen a jungle that has like all these weird rusted out robotic mechanical things going on in it. It's got giant trees. Mario's dancing around in it for some reason. This game, I will say this. I don't want to give away what I thought initially so much. But I will say, not to harp too much on 3D World, but when I first saw 3D World, my initial reaction was nothing. I had no reaction. I had no real feeling seeing that. I was bored. I didn't have a reaction. This game gave me almost every reaction a human can actually experience. And I think for that reason, it's special and it's whimsical. And there's something about this game. It's exactly what I want from Nintendo more often. I want them to do something where when you first see it, you say, what the hell? Why is Mario jump roping with humans? And then as you see it more and as you warm up to it, you realize, oh no, wait a minute. This is the crazy genius of Nintendo that made Double Dash and made Sunshine and made all those crazy games. Like, this is the kind of craziness that I want from Nintendo. Not some of the craziness they were doing in the Wii U days. So yeah, I will say that even if sometimes I looked at this and I was disgusted, that's a good thing, because I felt alive while watching this, and there's something about watching that trailer and looking at this game that does feel important and gives me that feeling that I want when I look at a Nintendo game for the first time. So, and did you see the detail in Mario's hair and his mustache? I have actually thought about that in the past. I've thought about how can they make Mario look better, and one of the things I was thinking about is like maybe making his mustache look like real hair and his hair look like real strands of hair. And yet at the same time, it keeps that weird cartoony shape. So, my God, they nailed it. He looks so fucking amazing. I'm sorry, that slipped. I totally, maybe for the first time in my life, just literally accidentally dropped an F-bomb out of pure excitement for this game. Bowser's marrying Peach? There's a Bowser-Peach wedding going on? What the heck? Okay, sure, I'll attend. Yeah, it's interesting. And the fact that it's called Super Mario Odyssey makes me think the whole Odyssey thing is referring to just how weird some of the worlds can get. And that is exciting, and I like that. All right, I want to wrap this up. I know I said 20 minutes, didn't I? And we're at almost 30. So listen, in short, I'm going to just rapid fire some things here. I do not like that you have to pay for online. I think that's ridiculous. I know that other people do it. I know that Microsoft and Sony do it, but Nintendo is different. And Nintendo has a different audience. Nintendo has an audience that has come to expect free online, and I think it's a possibility that it won't work for Nintendo to charge us for online. And I don't know if Nintendo's capable of giving us premium online that's worth paying for. This also drastically decreases the amount of people that you will find playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or playing any online game, because you're making it a more exclusive environment. And so because of that, you're not going to have as many people. So I don't know how that's going to go. I'm okay with paying the money. I hate it. I think Nintendo is just kind of getting really, really greedy these days. And I get that it costs money to have servers and all this stuff, but some games are like Splatoon or Mario Kart. Those are games you want to play online. You buy those because you very likely are going to play those online the majority of the time you're playing. So it's like you have to plop down $60 for the game, and then you got to plop down an annual fee to basically play the game, which seems unfair and stupid. And I know Nintendo's not the only one to do this, but I'm opposed to it on the other systems too. I just don't own them, so I'm not really complaining about it. So I don't like the idea of Nintendo saying, you got to pay for online, and I don't really care about voice chat. And I think the voice chat is like through an app on your phone or something. I don't know. But voice chat, I just use Skype, I don't care. I just grab Skype and use it. So I don't know. And then you get a game, like they're going to give you a game if you subscribe to the Play Online, and it's like an NES or a Super Nintendo game, which I don't really think have much value to begin with. And I think they pick which game they give you, and get this, you can only play it for a month. They don't even give you the game just for a month? That's so greedy and dumb. I don't get that at all. Also, I need to mention this real quick. The controller prices are astronomical. The Joy-Cons are like $80. The Pro controller's like $70. It's way too expensive. And I don't know why. The only thing I can think of is because they have that like 3D rumble in the controllers and so, the weird, really high capacity camera inside of it or something. There's like a camera in the controller, the Joy-Con now. And it's apparently better than like a typical IR thing. And I just wonder if maybe that functionality is just making the controllers way too expensive for their own good. And we know Nintendo, we know Nintendo's developers. they like to have these weird, crazy gimmicks in the controllers that they barely ever use. So if you're going to do it, if you're going to charge me up the butt for really expensive controllers, you damn well better be using the functionality in those controllers, Nintendo, and you better be using it in very good ways. But I do think that this system, those controllers, man, that is really beefy. Those are some beefy price tags. Look at the accessory prices for this stuff. It's too expensive, and I don't know. I think that might drive some people away from getting the extra controllers, and but yeah, those are my reactions. I'm gonna obviously do a discussion with my good buddy Roger. I'm sure we'll do one of those. This is about 30 minutes. Hopefully this whets your appetite. We are going to have our reactions. Myself and Nick, we sat down on the full set. We reacted to the stuff as it happened. Those will be popping up later in the evening here. But for now, thank you for listening. And I will see you guys really soon. My general reaction to the Switch is I'm very excited that this thing comes out in like a month and a half. So it's crazy to think we're going to have it that soon. But it didn't blow me away. But it also didn't disappoint me. I'm still stuck in the middle. There are things that were really cool, there were things that were not cool, and there are things that were sort of so-so. The launch lineup, though, does look like it's not that great. So we'll see what happens. Luckily, we got Mario Kart Battle Mode to look forward to about a month after the launch. Well, 2 months, technically. All right, I'll see you guys later.